Actually, K-pop proves that manufactured people are superior to natural average people. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is from allkpop.com, so that should tell you what we're getting into. Hi, welcome to me talking about whatever I want. Today I'm going to be talking about Dr. Phil versus K-pop Twitter. So before this, I would just like to give a little comment shout out from yesterday's video. This is actually kind of like a double comment shout out. This person, One Dog is Sky, said, are we going to just sit here and act like he hasn't changed his profile picture for this channel like 5 times in the past 2 days? And this person, Name, says, sometimes you got to try some things out before you find the aesthetic. Exactly. All jokes aside though, I would like to thank you again for the support. This second channel is doing so well. So we have ourselves a doozy here. Fans upset after Dr. Phil calls BTS's Jimin manufactured. Now, I got so many people asking me to do this after I mentioned it in passing yesterday. It's almost like y'all want me to get in trouble, right? It's like you want K-pop Twitter to be mad at me, right? Because you know I'm not going to sugarcoat my opinion. Like, first of all, I'm not a fan of BTS, and I've listened to them, so ultimately I came to the conclusion that BTS is just not for me. However, I don't hate K-pop. I actually really like Blackpink. I like Twice. There's a lot of solo artists and songs from solo artists that I think are really good, like Palette and She Is and So. So I'm not a K-pop hater, I'm just not a K-pop stan. That being said, if this video gets any amount of views at all from K-pop Twitter, I know they're still going to be trashing me relentlessly, so go right ahead. Also, this is like my 3rd video about music in a row. I'm not sure why that's happening. This is not supposed to be a music channel, but it is me talking about whatever I want, and I want to talk about Dr. Phil. Fans upset after Dr. Phil calls BTS's Jimin manufactured. Dr. Phil is currently under some hot water for some comments he made regarding BTS's Jimin. Alright, so the context that this article basically goes into depth is, he was talking to this guy named Ollie London. Now, if you've never heard of Ollie London, all you really need to know is that this man has spent over $100,000 on plastic surgery so he can transform himself into looking like his celebrity crush, K-pop boy band member Park Jimin. You know, if you want to spend like a lifetime's worth of money on plastic surgery, I literally feel like that's on you. You're gonna have to deal with the positives and negatives of that. However, he's not Korean. This is some British dude getting surgery to kind of make himself look more Korean. So like he had his eye shape changed. He did a lot, and that's why I'm not gonna go into any further details about it. So as unqualified as Dr. Phil is to diagnose or help anybody, because he obviously doesn't have people's best interest at heart, he still tried to give this man some good advice. But that good advice wound up being the hot water he landed himself in. So he said this.
You feel like you need to be somebody else, and you have to know that the somebody else that you're wanting to be is not really who that person appears to be. That's a manufactured, marketed image.
So like, where's the lie? Like, how is that wrong, mean, inaccurate? That's just true. However, K-pop Twitter went off. The person who posted that said, since OP deleted the tweet, here's Dr. Phil calling Jimin manufactured and a marketed image. It was seriously uncalled for and is feeding into stereotypes about K-pop idols. First of all, I don't understand how that's uncalled for when, like, I feel like this Ollie London guy needs to probably realize that you're devoting your whole life into transforming yourself into this other person, but like deep down you don't really know who that person is. It's like if I wanted to turn myself into Jimin, for example. Besides the obvious reasons that that would not be okay, I don't know what Jimin's like. You know, he posts like little Instagram stories, or they don't use Instagram, do they? He posts like little social media stories, and there's like behind the scenes and all that stuff. But that's still a camera in front of him. I think the only way you could transform yourself into Jimin is if you knew Jimin as a friend, and then you would understand what it meant to become him. Which, by the way, if you do actually know him personally, and then you spend $100,000 in surgery to look like him, But no, that didn't stop K-pop Twitter, because literally why would it? It says fans were upset after Dr. Phil's statement. This tweet says, "Hey Dr. Phil, last time I checked, it wasn't Jimin who splurged $150,000 to look like someone of an entirely different race. He's just a young man who is passionate about his career, and all natural, all caps, all natural. You just blamed Jimin, who is the victim of Ollie's Blizzard antics. JoJo's Blizzard Adventure." I think the thing that K-pop Twitter is failing to realize here is Dr. Phil's observations, for once, were more than skin deep. He's not talking about Jimin's face, per se. He's talking about Jimin as a concept, as a brand, as an entertainer. That's what Ollie London has paid all this money to look like. He hasn't paid money to look like Jimin in his most natural state. And, you know, claiming that Jimin is a victim, I do agree with that. I think Ollie London is kind of bordering on being a stalker. Jimin's definitely a victim, but I didn't, like, how did Dr. Phil blame him exactly for by calling him manufactured? Okay, let's see. This one has to be satire. Like, this has to be ironic. It says, "I can't believe Dr. Phil really just said Jimin is a manufactured marketed image. He's basically saying that Jimin's image is created as per the requirements of being an idol, not his real self." No, you've got to be trolling. But the username says "man like Jimin," and they're at Gmultis, so I don't think this is a troll. Okay, I have nothing to say. You beat me. You beat the commentary YouTuber. He has no comment. This next person says, "How I'm gonna be if Dr. Phil doesn't apologize to Jimin." Yes, physical violence. Always the best way of getting your point across. I mean, like, I know this is a joke, but it's kind of a weird joke to make. I don't know. And the thing is, like, all this, you're not doing that to Dr. Phil. You're doing that to the K-pop community. You're doing that to your reputation, because outside people, they're just gonna group you all together. They're just gonna think all K-pop stans are like this. Don't worry, K-pop stans watching this. I know most of y'all are not crazy. Or maybe you are, and I'm about to find out once this video goes up. But that's a fate I'm willing to accept for these views. Someone said, "Instead of dragging that freak who wants to physically look like Jimin, Dr. Phil dragged to Jimin instead. I'm really tired of BTS members getting dragged for crap that other people do." Let's not even talk about the fact that he didn't drag Jimin. Like, there's no Jimin hate from Dr. Phil's statement. Manufactured marketed image is just true. Unfortunately, even YouTubers are manufactured marketed images. Now, I would like to think that what I put forward on camera is a pretty decent reflection of how I am as a person, but there's still no way for me to be my most authentic self while having in the back of my mind that a lot of people are going to be watching me. I just got way too real for a second. Manufactured marketed image. WTF, Dr. Phil? Jimin has grown up, but has never gotten surgery. Is he really gonna sit there and stereotype Jimin like that? I can't believe this. Okay, so I think I'm starting to piece some things together. The stereotype that other person was talking about is plastic surgery, I guess. So the thing is, though, let's say Jimin has no plastic surgery. Again, I really have no idea whether he does or he doesn't. That's still a manufactured marketed image. And you know how I can prove this? One time I was on Twitter and I saw that BTS was trending, and I looked to see why. I always think one of them is dead whenever that happens. But no, apparently Jimin dyed his hair a certain color, and then he was trending on Twitter because so many people were talking about it. If that does not tell you that he's a manufactured marketed image, I don't know what's... This man's hair is manufactured and marketed. So even if there's no plastic surgery and he's just fresh-faced, he's still doing the makeup, he's still doing the hair, he's still dressing a certain way, presenting himself a certain way, posing a certain way for people to talk about it. So yeah, basically those are getting like hundreds and hundreds of likes. One of them even had like a couple thousand likes, and I was just like, now again, I'm not gonna sit here and blame all K-pop stans, because first of all, I don't believe in putting all people of any sort of group under the same lens. I know for a fact that not all K-pop fans are like this. And not to say that there's anything necessarily wrong with being like a super fan or like a stan of any K-pop group, but at the point where we're no longer making room for reality, I feel like things are getting a little bit weird. But thankfully, like I said, it wasn't all K-pop fans. There's some comments on the article we just went through from K-pop stans. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is from allkpop.com, so that should tell you what we're getting into. Someone said, this is a true statement. Sorry Army, many celebrities including K-pop idols and jimin, along with all of BTS, have a heavily manufactured look. I mean, if they didn't, it would be kind of weird. The reason that BTS is so much larger than life is because so much immaculate detail is paid to, you know, hair, makeup, clothes. If that wasn't the case, BTS might still have some of their charm, but they wouldn't have that larger than life aspect where like everything they do is perfect 24/7. A thing too about this is I feel like people are kind of making it black and white. So like if Jimin is manufactured, then he can't look good. When that's just not true. I can't believe I'm sitting on this channel having a discussion about whether or not Jimin's looking good. It's okay to admit that something's manufactured and marketed, and to admit that you enjoy that aspect of it. Let's see, this person said, I'm a Jimin stan, but what Dr. Phil said is true. It doesn't only apply to Jimin, but to all K-pop idols. This person said, I'm a fan and seeing Jimin makes me happy, but I know my limits. These are just people too with flaws. It's just that they're famous, and of course they have to take care of the image because fans expect them to be How old is this I'm really curious because I feel like age has to play into this, at least in some respects. I mean, not all teenagers are going to be crazy, and not all adults are going to be smart, but I truly feel like when everyone changes their picture to just an image of Jimin's face and everyone's username just says BTS stan, it gets really hard to separate like the longtime K-pop fans from the people who just found it last week and are like rabidly defensive of it. This last comment I'm gonna look at says, where's the lie though? All boy girl groups are manufactured from their music to their image, including BTS. So yeah, I never thought I would be getting on my channel and defending Let's not even call this defending Dr. Phil, because no, I'm just gonna call this defending what he said. Dr. Phil wasn't attacking Jimin. Some of y'all are just a little protective of this man who will never know it, though I'm sure he's appreciative. Look, if you want to get mad at somebody for dragging Jimin, get mad at me. I don't like BTS. Honestly, their music has never grabbed me for some reason, and if push came to shove and you showed me a picture of them, I could not pick Jimin out of the crowd. I'm sorry. But of course, if you're a longtime viewer, you know I can still say that while also acknowledging that there's nothing wrong with enjoying BTS or liking their music. And as always, I'm glad that people get something out of it. It's just not for me, man. I sat through the Idol premiere. I just didn't get it. It was bright colors and like trumpets and flashiness, but their dancing was on point. I'll give them that. By the way, I have this little like bonus comment that I had to share. This person said, suddenly everyone is surprised to find out that K-pop idols are indeed manufactured to appeal to the public. Isn't that basically the dark side of K-pop that we've been talking about for ages? But then this person jumps in and says, how is that the dark side of K-pop? Actually, K-pop proves that manufactured people are superior to natural average people. I see this very positive. First of all, you have negative 1,000 points on this website. Manufactured people are superior to natural average people. You know what? Who cares?